Good evening. It's May 17th, 2013. You're tuning in to the usual Friday evening webcast at LaRouche Pack TV. My name is Jason Ross. Tonight, Mr. LaRouche would like to begin with a question posed by one of the two questioners this evening, Leandra Bernstein. I'd like to call her up.
All right, thank you, Jason, and welcome. Good evening. Now, this question came in on the occasion of what hopefully most people watching this program know is yesterday's introduction of Senate Bill 985, introduced by Tom Harkin of Iowa, which is the Senate bill to restore Glass-Steagall. And this is a momentous development, and one of our organizers who's been doing a lot of the state legislature organizing made the point that we need to take the 30-day perspective. In 1933, May 16th, 1933, Glass-Steagall was originally introduced into the Congress. By June 16th, it was on the president's desk. And so we have a 30-day perspective ahead of us. But to get to the question, this comes from an institutional grouping who they say, congratulations on the introduction of a Senate Glass-Steagall bill by Senator Tom Harkin yesterday. This, of course, is an important milestone. However, the fact remains that the Obama White House and Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid are both staunchly opposed to any reinstatement of Glass-Steagall separation. Their Wall Street ties and the reasons for their opposition are obvious to all. Our question is this: how do you assess the battle for full passage of Glass-Steagall now that there are similar bills in both houses of Congress? What is the strategic landscape, both in the United States and abroad, regarding Glass-Steagall, and the kinds of actions you anticipate from those who are desperate to stop it?
Well, what this means is that Obama is already on his way out. That's how this has been set. It was inevitable in a sense, and if you read the signs, you realize repeatedly that Obama is a liability and that they're going to get rid of him. That's the intention. This has been the intention for a long time. After all, Obama is not real in the sense that he's really not the President of the United States. He may be nominally entitled the President of the United States, but he actually is a stooge for the Queen of England and her interests as such. You find out, watch him, and there is nothing in him which is particularly original. He's just a nasty person, extremely nasty person, and a killer. But he is nothing but a product of the British monarchy, the British Empire. Now, the time has come to get rid of the threat which not Obama represents, but which the Queen of England represents. Remember, the point is this, that all kinds of people have all shadings and kinds of attitudes about what is happening. They differ violently. But what is understood now is the hatred against the Queen of England because of her policy, which is to promptly reduce the human population from 7 billion people to 1 billion people, or approximately that. And also to turn the clock backwards biologically, which is what they're already doing. The green policy is a murder policy, because the human species in particular, but all general species, let's take it, there are two kinds of species to consider. One are the human species, the others are the animal or non-human species. They're different. The animals may innovate, as you may find a dog learns to innovate and play tricks and things of that sort. But the essential thing about is that there is creativity in the human being. That is, the human being is the species whose existence depends upon a process of total intellectual revolution. But if the species does not go into total growth in that way, as a revolutionary growth, that is the same thing as physical principles. Animals don't discover physical principles. Good human beings are developed to discover new species. In other words, if we are progressive in our education and our practice, we actually are evolving intellectually as if we were animals evolving biologically. In other words, what we do something in our evolution of our species which only the human species can do. And that's the big issue here. Now, if you go with the Queen's policy, and I'm not exaggerating one iota, the Queen's policy is to turn the biological clock backwards from a pre-human condition. That's what the Green Movement means. What the big problem has been ever since the killing of Kennedy, President Kennedy, we've gone into a dive where we used to be a progressive nation. We did make discoveries. We did improve technologies. But if you look at the picture now, the overall effect has drifted over to the totally negative side. We are now destructive forces. The only thing we have that's any good is weapons, and they're no good. So that's where we stand. So we've now come to the point where you have a complication of how do you organize dumping this president? Which means how do you dump the Queen of England? At least the Queen of England from our area of the world, and any of the areas of our friends we would like to have them benefit too, similarly. But that's what the issue is that. So that we've been put on a program of the Queen has insisted publicly, her spokesman have insisted publicly, is to turn the biological clock back to an inferior species. Turn the biological clock back. Reduce the human population from 7 billion people estimated to about 1 billion estimated. Make them stupid relative to what their ancestors were. That sort of thing. So that there is an anxiety about this, where people in general, you have two problems with it, people in general. First of all, they are human, generally. But secondly, they tend to be cowards. So therefore, they want a change for their benefit, but they want it done for them. Therefore, you got a situation. What we need to get rid of is not all these little guys and so forth in various roles in the United States. That's not the real issue. The real issue is get the Queen of England off our back and what she represents. What she represents for the evil against the whole human species. But we have people who are mostly cowardly. You know them and as your acquaintances. They're generally cowardly. They won't come out straightforward and say what they need. They will try to nudge somebody into doing it for them. And that's what's happening. We've come to the point that this is understood. We're losing everything. All the financial system is about to go. We're in a state of hyperinflation for which there is no comparison in history. We're about doomed unless we dump this operation. Now, dumping the operation means, in the case of the United States, dump Obama. Obama is nothing but a property of the Queen of England, in effect. And if they want to get him out of the government, then things go more easily. So putting Glass-Steagall into motion, as a revived Glass-Steagall, at the same time as dumping Obama, is the convenient way for people as they are today, including people in the United States especially, is to find a pretext that where nobody gets too much pointed out, they're not blamed for all this. Somehow it's going to happen mysteriously, but it's going to happen. And the movement now is to put in Glass-Steagall, That is the positive aspect. Nothing but Glass-Steagall could save the United States now. If you don't want Glass-Steagall, you want everybody in the United States dead, or virtually that. But at the same time, you've got to get rid of the trash. And the trash is symbolized and epitomized even by the president. So you've got to find a convenient way of doing a little bit of both to have the net effect that is desired. I understand this, and there are other things involved which I could go into at great length, but I don't think this is the moment for great length.